I've gotten some questions specifically about how I draw character expressions, so today we'll be doing just that. It's gonna be kind of like a casual crash course style tutorial, and this is just what I've learned so far and how I do it, so I'll also link to my favorite videos and creators that go in a little bit more depth about character work in the description that have really helped me. First, I want to do a quick rundown on how I construct a basic head. So the main concept I like to keep in mind is to think of the head as a 3D form rather than just thinking of it as a flat 2D shape that you're drawing. Now this does depend on the style you're going for. For me, I lean towards a more semi-realistic style with a little bit more detail, but I'm also aware you can get really fun results with flattening out your form, so you do you. This is just how I think of it. Typically, I start off constructing a head with a rectangular box shape or kind of like a whistle shape that I learned from the creator Night Saying. I kind of just imagine a center line to understand the perspective of the head and draw in some quick shapes for facial features like eyes, mouth, nose, etc. I also learned a lot from Tom Fox Draws. He does a really great breakdown of the head, and I really like the box method. Quick tip on ears. Ear placement tends to line up with the top of the eye socket and the bottom of the nose. This does vary because we're all different in our ear shapes and sizes, so this is just a generality to get started. This also applies to facial feature placement. Some people have eyes that are closer together, larger chins, smaller noses. It all varies, and that's the beauty of human beings and one of the most fun parts of drawing characters. The back of the neck has a gradual slope off of the head, unless you're super muscular like a Marvel character or something like that. There may be more of like a curve. Typically it's more of like a gradual slope. And then you have your traps on the side of your neck and the back of your neck, and then the sternocleidomastoid, which are those thick muscle pairs on your neck that create that V shape. Okay, crash course in anatomy done. And if you want more specifics, I will link some creators who have great breakdowns of the head, like Night Saying and Tom Fox Draws. I would really recommend doing these breakdowns and drawing through the form to get a sense of dimensionality of the head and truly understand the structure of the head. With anything that you study in art, specifically with anatomy, I think really understanding the structure instead of just copying will allow you to draw more easily from imagination and manipulate the form in whatever perspective you need, which is super helpful for doing more stylized character work. But before we move on to the rest of the video, I've also gotten some comments asking me what desk I use over on Instagram, and I'm very happy to say I have the FlexiSpot standing desk, who are also the sponsors of today's video. FlexiSpot has been a long-term supporter of this channel and my artwork, with a beautiful bamboo style surface being the backdrop of so many of my art videos, and I'm really excited to be able to partner with them again. It's been almost a year since I first received my standing desk from FlexiSpot, and I'm really pleased to report on the durability and quality of the desk. When I paint traditionally, I have the very unfortunate habit of being extremely messy, but I don't have to worry about staining my desk due to the easy to clean surface, even when the paint has dried. And we haven't even talked about the best part. No more shrimp posture or hunched shoulders with this bad boy. The standing capabilities of this desk massively improved my working habits and health in the past year. I have the standard standing desk E1, and my mom has the updated E7 standing desk. This is definitely a FlexiSpot household. With so many jobs tying us to our computers these days, I would highly recommend a standing desk to anyone looking to improve their posture, health, or productivity. So if you're interested in optimizing your workspace and maintaining a healthy work routine, you can check out the links in my description and use the code on screen for an extra $30 off on the E7, E7 Pro, or E7L standing desk. Thank you so much to FlexiSpot for continuing to sponsor this channel, and thank you guys for your continuous support that helped me to get more sponsors like these. Using your own face and using photo reference can be a great way to start learning how to depict certain expressions while getting better at drawing portraits and heads. You can use a mirror to draw yourself from life and capture any specific emotion you need as you draw your character. I know a bunch of the old school 2D Disney animators used to keep mirrors on their desk so that they could get the exact expression for their characters and accurately capture the transitions between emotions. You can also do this by setting up your phone and capturing a video reference of different emotions instead of capturing just photos. I feel like naturally acting out these expressions and having that moving element really adds more more energy and life to these potential references. Drawing friends or family members can be a great step up from drawing yourself. I used to schedule portrait sittings back in school, and I ended up painting so many different faces of friends and even strangers, and learned so much about capturing likenesses and the form of the face. Photo reference can also be a really great option if you can't draw from a mirror, or if you want to diversify the types of faces you draw. Everyone can express happiness, anger, and sadness in different ways, and it's really helpful to make notes of these little nuances and wrinkles that happen so that your character expressions can be a lot more lifelike regardless of the style. Photo reference sites like Adobe Stock and pretty much anything I can find on Pinterest works for me when I'm looking for references. Once you feel like you're getting the hang of depicting the structure of the face and head and getting an observational grasp of expressions, I think it's really great to get some inspiration from animators and other artists who do character work and study from them. This can help you in developing your own style and really make your character emotions clear by learning from professionals. Look at the way a certain artist omits certain details and exaggerates other details to convey emotion. Sometimes if we include too many lines of detail on the face, our characters can end up looking much older than we intend, and their expressions can end up unclear. However, wrinkles and sharp angles can really add to intense expressions as well, so it's all about balance. I think the less is more mentality really helps with simplifying and clarifying the expression, and this idea is really clear in a lot of professional character work. I currently really love the work of creators like Starbright and Likelihood Art over on Instagram, and every once in a while refer back to their characters for expression inspiration. I also find it really helpful to look at character sheets from different artists over on Pinterest or Instagram and do my own personal studies of the expressions to learn how and why they simplified or exaggerated certain areas. Of course, you shouldn't claim them as your own work. Always make sure to check with the artist before posting any work reference from them, and make sure to properly credit them. This is also just a small tip, but I find it really helpful when drawing expressions to doodle the expression to the side or lightly sketch it out on the face first. This is typically in a more exaggerated form, but it helps me to nail down the placement of features before taking the idea further with more details. Okay, we've done a lot of studying, but now it's time to actually put all of that knowledge to use and draw some expressions of our characters. Most importantly, you want to keep in mind the personality of your character. The character I'm drawing on screen is my Cowboy Knight OC Strawberry Saul. Saul is a very warm-hearted, friendly, and almost kind of bashful character, and this is really important to portray in his expression sheet. A lot of his smiling is almost a little nervous and sheepish, but I still wanted him to have an approachable, down-to-earth nature. Most of these headshot expressions have him angled downward to portray his more humble nature and possibly hint at a little bit of self-confidence issues in social settings. Don't worry, Saul, me too. Me too. The only upward expression is almost a call for help or a shocked expression. Because of his more honest and friendly nature, this also means his expressions are pretty obvious most of the time and clear to read. Worry, surprise, annoyance, or anger is very clear to read from him, and for anger and annoyance specifically, I really want to exaggerate his pout to kind of emphasize his more of a childish aspect of his personality. Now moving on to another character of mine, Blueberry Bill. Bill is a lot more reserved and almost a little bit intimidating and verging on condescending due to his high-class status and renown in his community. So naturally his expressions are a little more hidden than Saul's. He also has his own business, so he puts on a lot of air of professionalism and keeps his emotions at bay. This was a lot more difficult to draw for me, but I was up for the challenge. It was difficult to try and still portray some sort of expression, but kind of dial it down and kind of make it more subtle. More of his expressions would kind of be like his head tilted up, displaying more of his pride and self-confidence, as well as having more serious intensity than Saul. A continuously furrowed brow to show he's always focused on the task at hand, strategizing and planning in his head. But that doesn't mean he doesn't know how to smile. So I feel like he would have sort of a business smile when dealing with clients, and then maybe a more personal, authentic smile saved for family and a certain special someone. His shoulders are back and he has really great posture, assuring his confidence, but I'd like to think he also has a tendency to scrunch them up when he's angry, kind of recoiling from the world around him to find some peace in his own head. And I will save the rest of his character to be discussed in next week's character introduction video, so make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for when that video comes out. Moving on, I know this video is mainly about facial expressions, but so much of our expressions can stem from our body language and convey so much more meaning than words. You can experiment with different postures. More of a slouching posture can be for laid back characters, as well as I said previously, the way our heads are tilted can describe the way we come across in social settings. Hands can be an excellent expression of nervousness, excitement, and anger. You can implement some of this in your expression sheet as well and just have fun. As you're working on expressions, you may be frustrated with how every face looks like a completely different character. I know I struggle a lot with this too, especially with working on new characters like Saul and Bill, and I think it's one of the hardest things to achieve, especially when drawing from imagination. I find it really easy to do studies from photo reference or for myself, and drawing from imagination is kind of like the next level, and it's definitely a learning curve. So here are my basic tips that have been helping me get a better consistency with likeness. Making a character turnaround sheet of your character's head at different angles to use as future reference can be extremely helpful. This sheet can remind you of how big or small different features are and where they are specifically on the face. And one of the best tips I heard in a drawing class was that the space between features is more important than the actual features of the face. This is all about proportions and spatial relationships. To put this into practice, take a look at your own face. How far apart are your eyes? What's the distance between your nose and the top of your lips? How far is it from your eyes to your eyebrows? All of these little distances make a huge impact on how we draw people and exaggerate certain features. Overall, these slight facial variations combined with the size of certain features create what we know as likeness and a recognizable face. It can be really handy to draw over pictures of actors or actresses, or maybe even yourself, and take notes of these distances and compare them to others. There can also be more obvious markers of likenesses, like facial hair patterns, the shape of eyebrow arches, nose shape, eye size, but I would really encourage you to look a little bit deeper and really take notice of the surrounding areas and how that influences the structure of their face. This makes you aware of any conscious or unconscious impressions you may have about depicting certain groups of people. It's really important to learn how to steer away from relying on stereotypes and instead to always work on diversifying your references for portrait practice. I'm aware quote-unquote art fixing is prevalent on TikTok art spaces and contribute to a lot of Eurocentric beauty standards we see in art and the media today. The creators Thuman and Mohammed Agbadi offer a lot of informative commentary and critique of artists depicting Black, Indigenous, and other people of color, and I would highly recommend their channel as well as this video on screen from the creator Think Pieces. All really important videos to watch. And once again, likeness and expressions are one of the coolest parts about drawing characters and portraits. There's so much area for nuance and personality, and it's a shame that people just get lumped into one standard look. There is so much variation in how humans express themselves, and it's something that takes a lot of time and observation to get a solid grasp on. That's the beauty of the human face, the complexity of small twitches, wrinkles, eye shapes, nose lengths, and how our muscles smile and frown. Some artists have an easier time with this than others, but that should not stop you from continuing to learn. Speaking to myself here, I still have a long way to go with likeness consistency. I ended up drawing so many different faces for Bill and Saul, which took a lot of time, but it did end up improving my skills and helped me get a little bit more consistent. It's still something I'm not very strong at doing, but practicing and drawing your character more can really help to both cement their designs as well as develop shorthands for their designs and your own process of capturing their emotions. Next week's video, I'll be doing a character introduction of Blueberry Bill as mentioned in this video, so make sure to stick around for that. And in the meantime, you can watch a video about his boyfriend on screen now. Okay, happy drawing. See you guys later.